5 things you need to know about the housing crash. Crash tip number 1, you don't even know. Everybody and their mother thinks they're an expert because they read one headline on a social media feed. I'm going to give you an advantage. I'm actually going to tell you what a market crash is. To understand that, we have to understand the 3 major types of the market: a seller's market, a buyer's market, and a neutral market. So let's talk about a buyer's market. What does that mean? The buyers are really in charge. There's a lot of houses to choose from. They can get them for better prices, and sometimes they can even get repair work completed by the seller. And compare that with the seller's market, it is completely opposite. The sellers are in charge. In a seller's market, sellers sell for more money. There are usually buyers competing for a house, and the home sells fast. The last market type is a neutral market, and that is right smack dab in the middle of these two. It's kind of a fair market to both parties. We kind of shift from one market to another, back and forth. That's normal. That's not a crash. We fluctuate. Real estate's not linear. It goes like this. How quickly does the real estate market shift? It's not a light switch. It's not off and on. It swings slowly, back and forth. Usually when people are running around screaming, it's a crash, it's a crash, it's a crash, it's not. It's just a market switching back to the other side, which is normal. Now, what makes it a crash? We will see things like a flood of distressed properties, a major increase in homes that are available for sale, and a huge drop in the pricing of homes. Price reduction, price reduction, price reduction. Crash tip number 2. I'm going to show you the best way to tell the difference between a normal market and a crash. And that is months of inventory. So first, let's look at how it applies to a normal market. To figure out months of inventory, let's look at how many houses we have on the market. Say we've got 40, and we look at last month and say we sold 10 homes. So we take the total number of homes we have on the market, which is 40, and divide it by the number of homes we sold last month. That's 10. So what that means is we have 4 months of inventory. When we are looking at normal markets, 3 months of inventory is right smack dab in the middle of a buyer's market and a seller's market. Anything less is a seller's market. Anything more is a buyer's market. So now, how does this all apply to a crash? Let's say that we have the same 40 homes, but last month we only sold 2 homes. And that will tell us a crash is definitely imminent. In most cases, anything over 10 months would be a heavy warning sign of a crash to come. The easiest way to find this information is to ask an agent. Whether you're in my area or not, just reach out to me. I'll help you, or I'll get you connected to a great agent in your area. Click the link in the description. On to crash tip number 3, the $100,000 mistake. Before I get into it, I want to share a story with you. It's a total bummer story. This happened a few years ago. I had these first-time buyers, young family. They lived in an apartment. They had saved their money for a down payment, and we found a house for them, wrote an offer, got it into contract, and some things went sideways during the escrow. So they got some advice from their parents, and their parents said, hey, don't take a property like this. Why don't you wait? Because prices are going to come down and interest rates are going to come down, so you'll be in a better position. Well, this is 4 years ago. And if you know what the interest rates were 4 years ago, they were a lot less than they are today. They were 2.5% to 3%. Today, they're around 6%. So unfortunately, my clients canceled their transaction. They listened to their parents, and they are still renting to this day. So bottom line, don't listen to your parents. Okay, just kidding. Don't get swept up in other people's opinions, because ultimately you're the one that's going to face the consequences. This is the best way to protect yourself. First, check if they're actually an expert in the space. And if they are, ask more questions. And if not, take it as just opinion. That's as valuable as your own, and keep seeking more information, because everyone has an opinion. That random dude at the party, the guy you see at the grocery store, your parents, everyone has an opinion. And even worse is the constant barrage of people in our media feeds that just want attention. Crash tip number 4, 2 golden rules. What I want to cover here is really important. This could save people from losing their homes. These 2 rules are so simple and obvious, you would think that everybody would know them. but people mess them up all the time. Tip number 1, know your monthly. If you know what that monthly payment is every single month and it's manageable, even though the housing market fluctuates, prices go up, prices go down, it doesn't make any difference to you. So your monthly mortgage payment is going to include your taxes, mortgage, insurance, HOA. Make sure that monthly payment is manageable. And people know over time that the real estate market always increases. Mark Twain actually said one of my favorite quotes, which is, "Buy dirt, they're not making any more of it." Do we have to pay Mark Twain? He is dead, but still. Now, before we get sued by Mark Twain, golden rule number 2. Don't use your home as an ATM machine. Seriously, there isn't a PIN number for your house. How people are doing this is they're taking out additional loans on their house called an equity line of credit. You can use this for anything like buying a boat or buying a fancy new vehicle. And lenders love this because worst case scenario, they get your home. For you personally, what that means is that you are not building equity over time and putting yourself and your family in financial risk. Don't do that. I was selling real estate during the last crash, and these 2 rules were broken all over the place. The real estate market in California dropped by 40 to 60%, seemingly overnight. And by the time people could do anything, they were ruined. Families were devastated and had lost everything. When I was a kid, my family lost their home. I know what that feels like, and I never want this to happen to you. And now what we've all been waiting for, my take on if I think there's a crash coming. Crash tip number 5. What the hell? So if someone asked me if there was a market crash right now, I would say this has been my strongest first quarter out of the gate in 21 years of selling houses. And as we talked about earlier, an indicator of if there's a crash happening or coming or not is months of inventory. In my area, we have 2 months of inventory, which means we are definitely right now in a seller's market. The national average is a little bit over 3 months, which is just the beginning stages of a buyer's market. And nowhere near the 10-month mark of inventory that indicates a market crash. Definitely, in my opinion, not a crash. So let's get the tools in your own hands so you can check and verify some of this information for yourself. Outside of months of inventory, there are 2 other things we can look at. Price reductions. A large number of homes that all of a sudden all reduce their prices. That's a pretty big indicator. So that definitely shows that we are moving into a buyer's market, but it could also be an early sign of a market crash. The next big one is notice of defaults. This is when the bank says, hey, you're not making your payments, we're gonna put a public notice on your house. And this information is available to the public. If we start to see a large number of these increase, that could be an early warning sign. All 3 combined give you a really good take on the market, and so you're not just listening to random opinions. The first 2, days on market and price reductions, can be found at altos, altos.re. Link is in the description below. And notice of defaults, you can make a request at your county recorder's office, and they'll give you a full list. As an extra bonus here, foreclosure.com is another website you can go to, but I think they charge. And as always, a good agent can help you find all of this information at any time. Now let's keep it rolling by watching this video right here.